The sea. Today you think of it as a calm, silent, and infinite reflection of the blue sky. 1,000 years ago, there was once a city here, a street, a market, a palace, the laughter of people and the breath of civilization. But now, everything is drowned in silence, where light no longer reaches directly, from where the wind is forever exiled. In that dark depth, still stand silent the pillars of broken palaces, ancient gates covered in seaweed, inscriptions carved by scribes, which say once there was life here. People thought that civilization arose from the land, but the deepest secret of history is many civilizations were born not on the sea, but under the sea, and in the end, that is where they returned. Today we will return to those lost shores, where the dreams of men, the prayers of temples, and the glory of mighty empires, all are now submerged in an eternal silence. The ocean waves that crash on the shore today, thousands of years ago. Maybe that water was the pond of a royal palace, or the sacred stream dedicated to the gods and goddesses. What we see as the sea, ancient history called it burnt memory, a vast graveyard where civilizations lie without a name, without a story, but with evidence. On this journey, we will descend into that depth one by one. We will bring back the doors of 7 ancient lost cities, where standing, we may hear how mighty empires, their gods, their kings, and their last screams disappeared. The most discussed, the most mysterious, and most controversial name in the history of the sea, Atlantis. Thousands of years ago, the Greek philosopher Plato first spoke about the city, a civilization that surpassed the world of that time not only in state, not only in wealth, but also in knowledge, power, and technology. Plato called Atlantis a civilization that ruled the sea. They did not sail their own ships. The sea itself was their way, their power. But the higher a civilization rises, the louder the sound of its fall. The fall of Atlantis was also unprecedented. Legend has it, the entire city sank in one night. Neither fire nor war, but rather nature itself erased the history of the civilization on the pages of the sea. Many people think that Atlantis is just a fairy tale, but history has taught us time and again. Man forgets, but the earth erases nothing. Ancient maps show traces of invisible waterways, the ruins of broken seawalls, the traces of geometric architecture under the ocean, which prove that Atlantis was probably a real civilization. Imagine a metropolis with no dust on its path, because all the roads were carved in stone, whose temples had gold flowing in their veins, whose rulers led not with war, but with knowledge. Such was the belief that founded this city. If one can understand the sea, one can rule the world. But that very sea became their tomb. Why? Because the law of nature is, you can use the sea, but you can never subdue it. Thousands of years later, the architectural remains unseen beneath the water still stand, as silent witnesses of a past that was so overfull that it could not survive. Atlantis is not lost. Atlantis is simply preserved by the sea. On the west coast of India, in the blue abyss of the Arabian Sea, lies an ancient city, Dwarka, called the city of Lord Krishna and the gateway to the sea. Hindu scriptures say Dwarka was no ordinary city. It was a meeting place for gods and humans, a holy city where the king was a human, but his knowledge, justice, and wisdom were equal to that of a god. This civilization was not born on the foundation of war, but rather on the basis of religion, order, and the pursuit of knowledge. The streets of Dwarka were supposedly paved with wide stones. The arches were decorated with gold, and the city was illuminated by the light of divine order. But is all this just a myth? For centuries, many people thought the sinking of Dwarka is a mythological fable. But after 2000, when the Indian Navy conducted a deep gold scan of the seabed, they discovered the ruins of a city described in mythology under the sea. Not just broken walls, but also stone streets, port pillars, and man-made architecture that sank thousands of years ago. The most amazing thing is that this city under the sea is older than the Greeks' description of Atlantis. If Atlantis is lost history, then Dwarka is proof of lost history. It is written in the scriptures that when Krishna finished his work on earth, the sea came and swallowed Dwarka with his departure. The city again merged into the water from where it was once born. This is like the cycle-bound return of a divine civilization, born in water and ending in water. The sea did not just swallow this city, its glory, its religion, its mystery, made everything immortal and invisible. Even today, divers say that standing there, it seems that this city is not finished, but rather silent. As soon as the underwater city was revealed, it was clear. It was not a sunken ruin. It was a deeply planned civilization. Every pillar, every carving, every wall was written, the blueprint for an ongoing movement, where life and nature were not enemies, but allies. The structure of the city, Atlantis was not just a round city, but a multi-layered circle, where in the center was the power source. Around it was the administrative area, and at the edges were the settlements of the people. This structure was designed in such a way that it would carry the pressure of the earthquake over its body and spread it out into the sea. It was not just architecture, it was defensive intelligence. Water power technology, the biggest secret of Atlantis. Many researchers believe Atlantis used the energy of the sun, but not directly. It converted the reflection of the water into energy. They arranged the water flow in such a way that the pressure and wave motion of the ocean flowed through the walls of the building and converted it into a kind of vibrational energy, hydrosonic energy. It was like a modern tidal energy reactor, but thousands of years ago. Light has been seen inside the city, many cylindrical tunnels that probably carried natural light from the ocean surface to the ground. Even in the deepest darkness, their city was illuminated. That is why it seems that Atlantis was never a sunken, sad city, but rather a living city merged with the ocean. The death of a great civilization never happens in a day. Rather, the arrogance that has been accumulating for many days exploded in the last night. Atlantis first coexisted with the sea, but over time they wanted to control the sea. Their center of power, which was once in harmony with the rhythm of nature, became a forced extraction of energy. They wanted to make the waves of the sea their slaves, not their allies. This is where the fall began. When nature takes revenge, says the document, the first disaster was not an earthquake, but the stored anger of the water. The tide rose abnormally, breaking the channel of the power center, and from there, the internal collapse began. The architecture that had held the sea for thousands of years collapsed from within. A city did not sink. It tore its own heart out. Atlantis was a legend, but Dwarka, history. This city submerged under the sea is not a mythological speculation. It is not the Mediterranean Sea, but an archaeological site discovered directly on the Indian coast. The Mahabharata, written thousands of years ago, said, Dwarka was taken away by the sea, not by man, but by the sea itself, which took its child back. At first, people thought it was religious poetry, but after 1980, science became silent. Because in the water, the broken walls of the real city, stone roads, ghats, and the foundations of the temple were found. This is the first such example, where science found the same thing underwater as the religious epic said. Location of Dwarka. Its location in the ocean is right off the coast of Gujarat. Scuba divers can still touch the ruins of the walls and temples. It was a city, not a palace of the gods, a living city civilization. Why did Dwarka sink? A few main reasons are speculated. 1. Coastline change. 2. Tectonic slip/sea level rise. 3. Catastrophic tidal waves. 4. The sea itself reclaimed the city, matches the description in the Mahabharata. The most mysterious part is, the Mahabharata says that the night the city sank was sudden, as if someone came and pulled the key. Dwarka sank not in a slow process, but in one night. That's what the Mahabharata said. Scientists didn't believe it at first, because an entire city was under the sea in one night. That's impossible. But when seismic patterns / broken architectural aspects / foundations shifting in the same direction were found on the seabed, then it was understood. This was a single major geological event. In the words of the Mahabharata, the sea got its child back. In the words of science, tectonic slip plus mega tidal wave plus coastal erosion happened together. What was Dwarka like right before it sank? The bells on the temple spires, the palace courtyards filled with lights like Diwali night. The ocean was still a silent spectator. Suddenly, the earth shook. The water rises from the middle of the ocean, not from above, from within. The city begins to pull itself towards the ocean's lap. The ground seems to loosen and float away. It was not a flood. It was swallowed up. 3 levels of destruction. Dwarka. 1 tectonic slip base. Tilting 2 coastal collapse, city submerged. 3 reoccupation of the sea, complete disappearance. When it comes to sunken cities, everyone first thinks of Atlantis. But there was a real port civilization in the ancient world. Thonis, Heracleion, Egypt's sea gate at the mouth of the Nile. It was a city where Greek ships would first set foot, where the pharaohs would collect taxes, where it was believed that gods would enter from abroad. It was Egypt's sea border. How did it disappear? Not in a day. Over many years, the underground reservoir, city built on sediment plus delta soil, caused the huge architecture to slowly move from the inside and settle. Then in the final stage, a huge tidal wave, a tsunami, pushed the city to the bottom of the sea. Why is this city so important? 1. Egypt's main center for collecting sea taxes. 2. Gateway to the Nile plus sea trade. 3. Colossal statues, pharaohs plus gods, found intact on the seabed. 4. Roman, Greek, Egyptian cultures arose here together. This city was at once a meeting point for civilizations plus a gateway to empires.